Konnichiwa!
Howdy, y'all.
I'm Leslie.
I'm Lori. Welcome to
Sumo Kaboom,
where we are going to
talk about all
things sumo and break down the end of the March Basho for you, days 11 through 15, because this one set a record. Or it's set a new record.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened in a long time. We'll get to all that.
But it was big time and definitely delivered.
New energy and style. Yeah, youth. Youth on the doyo. Mm-hmm. All right, but I think first we have some bingo winners and some news.
That's right. Newsflash. You need to see this.
Good God, that's his ass?
Yeah. It's beautiful when you look at it like
because
that.
it's because he's shirt cocking. That's what makes it so funny.
Yeah. So that's where it's just like,
I mean,
it just really sets it off. And he does have such nice, look at those buns.
Look at those. I mean, look at his hammies.
I know. Thank you, Internet. We needed that.
If you want to know what that was, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hakuoho from behind.
Oh.
I was recording that. Yeah. That was Hakuoho warming up from behind with a shirt on and a mawashi in slow shiko. Is that an accurate description?
Yeah, it's the one that made the rounds on the internet this week.
It was on Twitter.
For very good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you, Internet, for the gifts.
Could I see that again?
Sure.
Could you turn that around? Because I would like to see that again.
I'll expand so you can see it in full. And it's like high def.
Great.
It's high def.
Well, and where is that?
It's backstage. What I love is that there was a fan who was like, oh,
look at what I have right
I got
here.
my phone. Get my phone out real quietly. Nobody will notice. And I'm just going to record something because I feel like the world needs to see this. And you are correct. The world did need to see that.
There's much to be said about nice buns.
All right. I can't really give you much news because it's all Basho related, but I will say post Basho, Hakaku was approved for a 5th term for the JSA as the chairman. And he said in his 5th term, he's going to work to eradicate violence. But see, I haven't forgotten the first 4 terms where he didn't focus on that. So I don't know how long a term is, but I'm hoping with the 5th time around, he will actually work on eradicating violence in the stables. That's my hope.
I hope it's getting better.
I think everyone likes him because guess what? The JSA, this is for the first time in 4 years, they have turned a profit.
Good for them.
Yeah. So, and I think we're seeing that, like with people seeing the Bashos again, they're selling out.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. There's a lot of foreign, tourists and lots of interest. So maybe that's of his doing, or everyone under him is working really hard to make all that happen. So I think maybe that's perhaps why. So that's another piece of news. We also had a nice little email from one of our former bingo winners, actually. And we didn't know that this bingo winner happened to be quite talented and a musician. And he sent along one of the songs he wrote. He has a heavy metal band, and they wrote a bunch of songs that are dedicated to sumo. And I want to play you a wee little clip of one here. What do you think about that song?
Oh, I like it. Yeah. I think the Sumo Punks crew would adore that song.
That's because Matt, I think, does like the heavy metal.
Yeah, I think he is in a heavy metal band.
Yeah, I liked it because I was like, oh, I think I could do my workout at the gym. Like it pumps you up. Like I feel like I don't think I could lift more than like a 20-pound kettlebell, but I could maybe do like a 25-pound kettlebell
with that music
pumping me up. So it's called Tachiai. I'd say our listeners are up there with the most talented listeners in the entire world.
Oh, I think they are. They're the smartest, sexiest, friendliest, most wonderful people on the planet.
Yeah, sumo fans. Yeah.
Yep.
So that is all I have for this week news.
Well, great. Let's talk about bingo then.
Yes.
because I was just so excited by the first bingo that came in. It was a Makikoshi bingo, and it came from Lenore, y'all. And let me tell you a little bit about Lenore. Maybe you saw the photo that was on our socials because I shared it. It was such a great photo.
It was adorable.
It was Lenore and her daughter celebrating Lenore's win at Makikoshi Bingo, which is like a bingo of sadness, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, because you are rooting for like wrestlers to lose.
Yes.
But we had some real stinker of records this time around.
We did. And Lenore's Bingo of Sadness was the very first one to come in. So Lenore is an 86-year-old native New Yorker.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yep, originally from the Boogie Down Bronx. In her wildest dreams, she never thought she would be a sumo wrestling fan, but her daughter and son-in-law got her hooked, and now she awaits every tournament with joy. She is a big fan of the underdog, as are we.
Yes.
And the up-and-comers alike, so she particularly loved the meteoric rise of Takeru Fuji this tournament. She is thrilled with her Makikoshi bingo, but she is a compassionate sort and feels very sorry for Kurishima because he's clearly going through something and wishes Tsurugisho a comfortable recovery. And she says, quote, "My knees aren't what they used to be either."
I love it.
She initially told us that if we sent her a prize, we should send her a mawashi and that she would parade herself around Central Park wearing that mawashi. But then after I said, "Are you serious? Because we will absolutely make that happen," she said, no, I'm actually backing off that, but I am looking forward to other prizes. Yes.
Awesome.
So, Lenore, we will be reaching out for your address and we will get you something very soon. And just thank you so much for playing with us.
I feel like I'm going to send her a jar of jam because, look, any winner that we have that's over the age of 80, I'm just going to say it from here on out. If you happen to be a winner and you're over 80, you get a bonus prize for being like just awesome.
Yes.
And Karishima's loss is your gain.
That's right. That's right. Sad to say.
Congratulations, Lenore. Our Kachikoshi winner is none other than Derek. When his Kachikoshi came in, I can't remember, but he, it was maybe day 13 or something, I feel like. Anyway, it was a great win. And I'm going to read you a little bit about Derek. His name is Derek. Obviously, he's 38 and he's a father of 3. So he says, "I'm just your typical family man in Midwesterner terms." And how he got into sumo was due to his complete obsession with history and documentaries while surfing YouTube.
Oh, perfect.
And he came across this Vice documentary about sumo, and he said it blew his mind, changed everything he knew about sumo before, because he thought, like everybody else, it's just fat guys in diapers and that whole business and with funny looking hair. He didn't say with diapers, but everyone says fat guys with funny looking hair. And then he watched the Vice documentary and then he was hooked. He was officially on the hook. He got the sumo bug, and from that day on, he researched, and then the more he researched, the more he learned to love the religion, the rituals, the dedication. He couldn't believe what he was missing out on, and he was just upset that it took him so long to find sumo in the first place. So he says he doesn't remember the exact date, but he came into sumo at the end of Hakuho's career, and he said, "Thank God I got to witness that because he's the greatest." And he's his favorite retired rikishi to date.
Nice.
And his favorite active rikishi is Hoshoryu because of the way he wrestles, because it's exciting, and he just has that look. And he's also trying to keep, the family legacy alive, and he loves that. So after that, it would be Midori Fuji. So because he loves the underdog, and he's a giant slayer, because how could you not love him? Anyway, he also, like me, watches the Futagayama stable because they have the whole YouTube channel where they just eat food all day and then document it, and it's completely delightful. So anyway, so that is a little bit about Derek. So congratulations, Derek. You will also be receiving a jar of jam and more prizes, courtesy of us and Big Sumo Fan, Robert over at Big Sumo Fan. So we're also drawing for our winners for our second place bingos. And they are
to be determined.
To be determined.
Yeah. We always wait 24 hours after the final day to let people send in bingos because sometimes people can't get to day 15, for 24 to 48 hours. So we give them some extra time.
Exactly.
And I can tell you exactly how many second place bingos we have.
37 makikoshi and 27 kachikoshi.
64?
Something like that, which is actually less than we normally have.
Yeah.
So, plus we had players from all over the world. Singapore was one I saw. We always have Australia.
Yeah.
It just, Canada. So thank you all for playing.
Japan.
Yeah,
all over the place. It's just really fun to email y'all and talk about the Basho because it's just great to talk with other people who are as excited about sumo as we are. So just thanks for making our day and thanks for playing along with us.
That's right. So congratulations to our winners. And we will let you all know via email. And if you don't get an email from us, don't worry, because you know what? There's a tournament around the corner in 6 weeks and it's in May. We'll look forward to it then.
Tournament time? Basho time?
Let's do it.
Okay. We're going to jump all the way back to day 11. I'll give you one guess as to what happened when Oho met Asanoyama on day 11. Guess who went forward and guess who went backward. Just guess.
I think Asanoyama went forward and Oho went backwards.
Yep. Oho tachi-eyed and then pulled, and Asanoyama was like, great, awesome. Mm-hmm. I can handle that.
Yeah, well, he loves to go chest to chest. He'll pull you in and then he'll just keep slow dancing you back to that Tawada and out.
Just had to mention that to start us off on day 11. But some of my favorite fights, I'll talk to you about maybe 3 or 4 just to sort of set the mood, just to remember day 11. I thought there was a meeting between Atami Fuji and Ura that was so fun. Mm-hmm. And I know there are a lot of Ura fans out there. In fact, Adam Jones sent in this haiku. The cheeky chappy in the bright pink mawashi, that is my Ura. A haiku by Adam.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Whatever you do, Adam, quit your day job because you got a future in haiku.
Right? Haiku poetry future.
What do you do for a living?
Haiku poet.
I'm a haiku poet.
And I know it.
Adam Jones. Thanks.
You'd have to just speak in haikus all the time, which would be really difficult to do.
That would be really tough. Yeah.
Rah, rah, rah. Well, in this meeting of Atami Fuji and Ura, big guy versus little flexible guy, and Ura, they got in together pretty quickly and their arms interlocked at the top. It looked a little bit awkward. And Ura tried a kata sukashi, tried to pull the big man down with, an underarm pull there. And Atami Fuji followed Ura, did not let him do that. And he kept Ura moving all the way back to the bales and pushed and pushed and pushed, but he could not push Ura out because of the Ura back bend.
Right.
Ura just bent over backwards. It was beautiful. He blocked with both legs on the bales and back bent. So then Ura shuffled to the side, and with Atami Fuji's arms around him, Atami Fuji kept moving him back and back and back and back to the bales until it was as if Atami Fuji got bored with it. And he was like, oh, good Lord, I'm simply going to lift you up by your armpits off the ground and then take you out. And that is what happened. And it was great. And I loved it. Always love watching Ura, like many, many of you. So that one was fun for me on day 11. And then I'm just going to take you right to Takara Fuji on day 11, because if I'm remembering correctly, this is the first day where Takara Fuji's fights weren't in the beginning of the entire evening, right? Because he was Maegashira 17. He usually fought early. Suddenly on day 11, he was fighting late in the day. And on day 11, he was meeting Kota Nawaka.
Right.
And I got to say, at this point, I was thinking, all right,
well,
there's no way he can hold this together.
I wrote at the end of it, how is this happening?
Yeah. Well, because remember, he was 10-0.
Right.
Takara Fuji at this point was
Right.
10-0, and he was suddenly meeting an Ozeki.
Right.
An Ozeki.
And we're like, look, you can have a great record, but let's be real. Like, your first 5 days, who were you fighting?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
some guy from Juryo, like, who are you fighting? Well, now he's finally reached the Ozekis. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's moved to the serious side of the ball game here, and he's meeting the
this
best,
course
the biggest.
will correct here. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, me too. Right, yeah. Like, things are about to change. So, as we saw the first 10 days of this tournament, Takara Fuji got in so fast, super, super fast, and sort of jumped to the side of Kotonowaka. But this time Kotonowaka watched, and he followed. And Takara Fuji, he tried a little thrust down maneuver, but again, Kotonowaka, I can't say their names today.
I know. Well, we're recording later in the day as opposed to early.
Oh,
so
that's it. I don't have green tea on board.
yeah. Well, I think
this
it's
could be a
just,
long night.
It could be.
Okay, well, Kotonowaka recovered from the thrust down attempt, and then Takara Fuji got right underneath Kotonowaka's chest and with perfect positioning pushed up on Kotonowaka's chest, pushed him back and over the bales, and I was completely surprised by this one.
Yeah.
It was one of the few fights where it took him more than, a couple seconds to get the win, but much larger opponent.
Yeah.
And an opponent with a lot of experience. And I was so impressed with this win. It was incredible. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
This
He
win.
has the advantage of most of these guys haven't fought him yet.
Yeah.
So that may have been the deal. But then again, I mean, he's quick. His deadly weapon is just how incredibly fast he is at the Tachi-ai, getting inside.
One of you, when you wrote in with your bingo card, said you and your friends were calling Takara Fuji the Tasmanian Devil because of the similarity in body shape.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he is very
you know what?
V-shaped.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Yeah. This V-shaped rikishi going up and underneath Kotonowaka. He's like a reversed shoehorn coming up from the bottom, going up and out. And he's just so friggin' fast.
Yes.
Anyway, so he went to 11-0 on day 11. And I was shocked. It sounds like you were shocked too. Suddenly, this is getting super exciting.
Yes.
Onosato. And I'm skipping to these because I didn't even tell you this, but when we went to bring you back to day 11, Takara Fuji was in the lead 10-0, and Onosato and Kotonowaka were 2 behind him at 8-2. Right? So that's also what made the Takara Fuji Kotonowaka fight so exciting, because it was like, okay, if Kotonowaka can beat him, they've got a similar or the same score,
Close,
right?
yeah.
Math is too hard for me to do at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
But they're close. Yeah. So Onosato, who was 2 behind Takara Fuji, took on Takakeisho.
Right.
And boy, this was something to behold. Now, Onosato is much larger than Takakeisho. And when they met, there were some super huge pushes, and Takakeisho seemed to be holding strong, pushing with all of his might, and they were kind of in the center going chest to chest. And then Takakeisho switched at some point to a thrust down maneuver, and when that happened, Onosato went in for a push.
Yeah.
And not just a simple easy push. This was like a push of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And when he did, Takakeisho went flying out of the ring and landed in the first row.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. Onosato was much younger. And so another Ozeki went down to another young kid. And it was a real unceremonious loss, I would say.
Yeah, it was definitive.
Like
it was a definitive win.
Yeah. So we had a Takara Fuji win, we had an Onosato win, and the Atami Fuji win over Ura. Those were my 3 favorites from day 11. But what that left us with was Takara Fuji 11-0, and he had already tied Taiho for the best start of a rookie in the top division at this point. So he was already, like, people were already like,
okay,
something really exciting might
maybe I should
happening.
start paying attention.
Yeah. Onosato was behind him at 9-2, and Kotonowaka was at 8-3. Now suddenly we had Hoshoryu, Gonoyama in the game. All these people that were like, okay, well, if this kid at the top starts losing, there's some possibility for some other people to jump in and sweep the Basho away.
Day 12. I'm going to skip to, I think, the most exciting bout of the day, and that was Ura versus Meisei.
I'm shocked. An Ura fight? That was the best one of the day?
I know. He delivered. As
Yeah,
far
he
as
did.
excitement this Basho,
Yeah.
he delivered exactly what the fans wanted. I swear JSA needs to give him a cut because his bouts are always the most exciting. From the top, Meisei had basically bootscottied like Ura. He had just got in under his pits and just or in his chest and just shoved him back, and Ura just scooted on the clay, slid him to the dirt to the edge of the bales. Ura wedged himself there, just like a doorstop, like a door jamb, and he was slightly lower. Meisei, though, couldn't finish him off. So then Ura then shifts laterally and moves to the other side of the doyo and finds himself again up against the rope, wedged completely like a door jamb, and Meisei pushing like hell. Until Ura brilliantly shifts to the other lateral direction. So he went one way laterally, went the other way, and then he scoots himself quickly behind Meisei, grabs the back of his mawashi, and ushers Meisei out. And then it ended up being, I think, a crash landing. So it was an Akuri Tayoshi, I believe. It was a rear crush out, and it just looked exciting, was ridiculous how he just is like the cat with 9 lives. He just has so much more trickery that you think, how's he going to pull this off?
Yeah.
He always does. It was clever. It was fun as ever. It was so spontaneous. And that's why we love Ura. And Ura delivered a makikoshi that day for Meisei,
Yeah.
who now has a losing record.
And it's not just his flexibility, just his speed. I remember that fight, his block, the lateral block, the otsuke. Is that what they call it?
It keeps the other guy from getting a grip on the mawashi.
Yes.
And they pull their elbows down to clamp onto that hand and wedge your elbow into your rib cage to be like, nah, no, you can't have me.
That's a great description of it. And Ura's it was amazing to me. I was like, that kid has so many skills to be that size and to be doing so well.
And he's fast. Not just
So
physically fast. He's a quick thinker because he just as quick as lightning, he changes his tactics. And we know that he has zero game plan. He's admitted to I have zero game plan when the match starts.
If he had a game plan?
I mean, he probably has tried it and been like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, just let my body do what it does.
He just moves like that and thinks like that in the moment. It's just inspiring. Anyway, next we had Wakamoto Haru up against battered Takakeisho. It seemed like Wakamoto Haru played as gently as he could, though, up against Takakeisho, who had a real soft tachi, which just is evidence that he is barely hanging on at day 7, and Wakamoto Haru just followed. He was lower. He stayed close to the chest of Takakeisho, which blunted his blasts, moved him backwards and out by Yorikiri. I just think Takakeisho's injuries just can't possibly, at this point, I wrote, hold up for 15 days. There's just no chance. And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Hoshoryu versus Takeru Fuji. This is the match everybody was waiting for on this day.
Yep. Because
we're like, well, okay, the day before, that might have just been beginner's luck. Let's see how he does. Up against another one. This is Hoshoryu. He's all leg tricky. We'll see. We'll see.
And faster.
Yeah.
I mean, Kotonowaka is amazing, but he doesn't have the Hoshoryu speed.
Exactly.
Or spice.
Well, they tachi-eyed, and Hoshoryu quickly got in and backed up as Takeru Fuji charged forward, but it was all a trick that Hoshoryu allowed Takeru Fuji to think for one moment he had him and he was reversing him, And Hoshoryu then got a left arm of Takeru Fuji in that, I'm going to let you move me back and And then he swung Takeru Fuji around like pizza dough in the air and eventually to the dirt with a kotenage. And it officially ended his perfect run of wins in his Makuuchi debut. Mm-hmm. Hoshoryu, though, afterwards was the icing on the cake, which was a brilliantly placed smirk.
Mm-hmm.
and a bobble of the head that just made me giggle because he was like, come on, you've been lucky, but it's not that easy up here. And I'm going to stand in your way and I'm going to show you how that it's not going to be this easy. So I did add a lot of drama to that, but I think that at this point Takara Fuji had been aces. And then Hoshori was like, it's not possible, bud. You got to get past me and I'm not going to let it happen.
Yep.
And he didn't. Kirishima versus Midori Fuji. Kirishima he kept Midori Fuji off of his favorite Karisukashi move up top, but it was a real struggle, I noticed. And I don't really know what to say about this match other than at this point, Kirishima is injured because he gave up at the end. Mm-hmm. And Midori Fuji just stayed in this kind of like awkward position and Kirishima just couldn't move forward. And he lost. And I was like, I'm not surprised. And I know he has a neck injury, but I was just more surprised at like just how much power he's lost with whatever injury this is. Or if it's his broken heart, we don't know. But I think it's an old neck injury, which is awful.
One of our listeners wrote in and said perhaps he's upset because he lost the sexiest Rikishi status this year.
You know, I had not thought about that. And
it really could be why. Why he's lost his spunk and his spirit.
Well, like if you're listening, Kirishima, we'll give you honorable mention. Come on, just get your A game back. Anyway, moving on. Kota Nowaka versus Ono Sato. Now, this was another exciting one because now we're seeing the new guys who don't have their full hairstyle. We've got half a hairstyle with Takara Fuji. We've got long treads.
Yeah, tread marks.
or tread marks. Or what do you call them? It's late. His mane. Hair. No, I could think of hair. Mane. Threads. I don't know. Ono Sato's hair is long and it's not in a top knot. So it's them versus Ozaki's. Well, Kota Nowaka met the Tachiai hard with Onosato, and then he drove, and Onosato couldn't get himself centered. And then Kota Nowaka got the arm of Onosato and then delivered him a beautiful Kotonage. And it was just a sort of fling out from the side and a Kota Nowaka win. So I thought that was also telling. I was like, Onosato's really great, up and coming, but yeah. Both of the youngins lost out to not established, but Ozaki's. And I was like, okay, all right, maybe the tide is changing.
Yeah.
And maybe Hoshoryu does have a chance. Coming into day 13.
Because Onosato and Takara Fuji both lost on day 12, Takara Fuji still had a 2-point lead going into day 13. Dayamami fought this kid named Shirakuma. Did you see that kid? He was up from Juryo. His entire backside was taped from butt to shoulders.
You mean he was a mummy wrestler?
Yeah. Yeah. And like when, I'm telling you, from the bottom of his butt cheeks all the way to the top of his shoulders was tape. And when you're taped together,
a technique to keep them from grabbing you. Maybe the tape is harder to grab. Maybe. Was he the little guy?
He was smaller, yeah. But I just couldn't believe the amount of tape on someone's backside.
Wow.
Yeah. So
worth mentioning. Definitely worth mentioning. Because you know what? We like to point out the things that are like, what?
Well, and unfortunately, his sumo was completely forgettable. But I think that's due to all the taping. And perhaps you should take a day off when it gets that bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe. I also want to mention on day 13, Endo's Hanka on Tamawashi was clean, but no one liked it.
No.
Tamawashi simply fell forward. Endo was not there. No one in the audience liked it. And is that how you should treat your elders, Endo?
I know, but
I don't think
Endo's
so.
Going straight to Juryo, so I feel like Endo was just doing whatever he could get to the Endo of this tournament.
If a Hanka is a desperation move, I don't like it. But if it's like a part of a puzzle, if you're trying to mentally game someone,
right.
I sort of get it.
Yeah.
But not when you're losing like Endo is.
No.
Also a tough day in the office for Midori Fuji because he met Takayasu on day 13, who went right for Midori Fuji's throat and then pounded him with a series of thrusts and slapdowns to completely overpower Midori Fuji. Sorry for that tough day in the office, Midori Fuji.
Yeah.
We all have them.
We all have them.
But yours was tougher than most. Day 13, Asanayama got his Kachikoshi, and I mentioned that because
He's my favorite.
I'm sure I did note, I was like, I bet Leslie just liked that.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. But 2, that means because he was at Megashare 1, if there's a spot in Sanyaku, which it seems that there will be, he's going to be back up there.
Which means he's one step closer to regaining his Ozeki status.
Yes.
Which, as long as he can stay healthy, is completely possible.
Yep. I liked it. But let's get to the big fight.
Okay.
Takara Fuji versus Wakamoto Haru was the meeting on day 13. Wakamoto Haru going for his Kachikoshi. Takara Fuji still out in front. There was a nice, huge hit at the top from Takara Fuji that Wakamoto Haru absorbed, and he tried to slow down the match a little bit. And then Wakamoto Haru tried to reach around and grab Takara Fuji's belt, but he missed. And Takara Fuji spun to the right, completely overpowered Wakamoto Haru. He had Wakamoto Haru back on his heels just about the entirety of this match. That's what impressed me more than anything. That took Takara Fuji to 12-1. Onosato met Big Daisho. Big Daisho ran himself out of the ring when Onosato just slapped him to the side. So that was a pretty uneventful win for Onosato. Yeah. But 2 big ones to mention after that. Takakeisho was still going for his Kachikoshi. And he met Kotonowaka on day 13.
Yes, he did.
Kotonowaka, in this match, grabbed Takakeisho's belt. And I thought, oh, that's it. It's over. Kotonowaka has this match. He's much larger. Takakeisho is not a Mawashi man. But Takakeisho spun, got the both of them back to center, and then sort of walked around Kotonowaka's side, caught Kotonowaka in an awkward position, and walked him out with a belt maneuver. At the end of the fight, Takakeisho was wincing in pain, obviously.
Right.
So he put a lot of muscle into some move, and we heard later that it was a pectoral muscle. So as he moved a much larger man, he hurt himself. And I don't think anybody would.
But I don't think that's why he ends up pulling out. I guess we can give spoiler alert. He pulls out after this day because he got his Kachikoshi, and that's all he needed to not be in Kadoban.
Right.
And he just immediately was like, great, I got it. I'm done.
Well,
anyway.
Great for Takakeisho because he finally got that all-important 8th win so that he can hold on to his Ozeki status, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're injured.
Exactly.
Hoshoryu knocked Gonoyama right out of the Basho race the same way he won the day before with a beltless arm throw. It was beautiful. So Hoshoryu went to 10-3, and Kirishima lost to another guy who was injured, Kimbozan, which I couldn't believe. And Kirishima went to 10 losses on that day. So the best news, Takara Fuji 12-1, Hoshoryu and Onosato trailing at 10-3.
Day 14. I am going to skip to the latter part of the day, starting with Ura, because
surprise,
this match between him and Hiradoumi was a drama, and Ura had quite a beautiful hurling of Hiradoumi at the end of this. But spoiler alert, it was a hair pull. But you can see how hard it was to see that. Oh, that's the cat. I thought. Sorry, everyone. The cat has something to say. Ura pulled the lower back part of Hiradoumi's hair, and that is a professional no-no. There is one thing you do not do, and that is a hansoku, which is the hair pull. You do not touch the hair. And the thing is it was such a beautiful hurling maneuver in the beginning, and it was so dynamic. The whole crowd was just like, whoa, that was incredible, Ura. And then they had called it originally for Ura. I said for Ura, because it was this kind of last minute switch of fate at the edge. With Ura up against the bales, and then he lifted up and threw Hiradeumi up and back and over like his shoulder. And it was just so pretty. And then they got the hand up from the shimpan, and they were like, oh, I think we need to see this again. And then you could see his little Ura fingers were curled around the nape, if you will, of Hiradeumi. And it was reversed.
Which, can I say?
Yes, the cat can say it. She is.
Can you imagine how much it would hurt to be thrown by your hair?
I mean, well, and also off the doyo at the same time.
Exactly.
You got your hair thrown, your hair, and you got thrown off the doyo. Anyway, the next bout I want to talk about is Asanoyama versus Takeru Fuji. So Asanoyama does his very best job, and it worked. Takeru Fuji had a huge blast, and Asanoyama just got in close and maneuvered Takeru Fuji back into the Tawara and pretty easily out. So Takeru Fuji then, though, this is where everything just shifted, because Takeru Fuji fell off the doyo, and in that moment something happened, and he tweaked his ankle, is what we saw at the time somehow, and he hesitated, and then he was limping as he got back up on the doyo, and he needed assistance to kind of he gathered himself to get up there and to bow, but then coming down he made it halfway up the Hanamichi, and then either he said I'm not going to make it, but they brought him out a wheelchair, and he was carted off on a wheelchair.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it was a major roll of the ankle on the doyo as he shifted on that right leg, as I recall.
I don't know.
I think it was the right leg.
All I wrote was, his ankle is toast, everyone. His ankle is toast. And so even though I did love my Asanoyama got the win, and Takeru Fuji got a loss, and I was like, okay, this is still very exciting. We still have other wrestlers that, okay, however it goes today, tomorrow, we could see a playoff. We could see something, we could see something exciting. But everyone, I think, had a pit in their stomach after this.
Oh, I did, yeah.
You're just like, are you kidding me? This incredible journey. Everyone's on his side. And then, oh my gosh.
Well, he went out in an ambulance. They took him to the hospital in an ambulance.
Yeah. So, which said to everybody, oh, this is not just a twist.
Ankle.
This is not.
This is like a broken.
This is something
foot or
bad.
something.
And so I just went to bed that night being like, oh,
yeah. I was thinking, oh, he's not going to show up. He's not going to show up the next day.
Well,
oh, what a bummer.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah. So we'll fill you in on that. What happens later? The next bout was Abi versus Onomatopoeia, which is what my computer autocorrects Onosato as.
Great.
So Onomatopoeia pulled a lovely...
Why isn't there a wrestler with that name?
I know.
Onomatopoeia.
It should be.
Yep.
Pulled a lovely Hitaki Komi on Abi that sent him quickly to the dirt. It was tachi, and then blunting of Abi's murder arms, then a hop back and a shift to the side from Onomatopoeia, and he shoved Abi back, and Abi was slapped down pretty easy, and Onomatopoeia is only now one behind Takeru Fuji. Last bout of the day, Hoshoryu versus Kotonowaka. So this bout matters because this would put Hoshoryu in the running for the playoff. Up top, Hoshoryu did a meet and shifted to the side and around to the back of Kotonowaka and got that deep belt grip on Kotonowaka, which would normally spell disaster. But Kotonowaka was heavy-footed, as he always is, and Hoshoryu just isn't strong enough to hurl Kotonowaka. And Kotonowaka smartly just leaned all of his body mass on Hoshoryu at the edge when Hoshoryu was trying to pull the throw. So instead, Kotonowaka just fell on top of Hoshoryu with this frontal crush out, and Hoshoryu hit the dirt, giving him the loss. Kotonowaka and Hoshoryu both have 10-4 records, so not enough for a playoff position for both of them. But that, hey, they could both be on a Yokozuna run with those 10-4 records.
So going into day 15, we had Takeru Fuji in first place, 12-2. trailed by Onosato in second place, 11-3. And what we know now happened that evening, Takeda Fuji went to the hospital.
Right.
They looked at his foot.
Right.
He went back home to the stable, and his coach was basically like, well, darn that luck.
That's it, kid.
Sorry, that's it, kid. What a drag, huh? And Takeda Fuji was like, I hate sumo. I hate sumo. I hate this. I got this close. And then this happened. What is wrong with me? And then Terunofuji came in.
Cue Terunofuji.
I love you.
And
He walks in.
And he was like, hey, kid.
The lights dim.
Hey, kid.
Fog comes up from the ground.
Yep. You got troubles? You got physical troubles? And Takeda Fuji's like, yes, I do. And Terunofuji says, I happen to know a little something about that.
Yeah. He said, sit down on my knee.
Yep. On my just injured knee. But have a seat. My back can handle this.
Actually, let's
have
be
a
real.
little talk.
Neither of them are sitting because
They're squatting in the corner, I'm sure.
Maybe.
They're boots scotting as they have this
laying
discussion.
down because that's the only comfortable position for both of them.
Maybe they're eating ice cream, having a beer. I don't know. But Terunofuji basically says, look, I know it hurts. I know it does. But how often do wrestlers find themselves in your position? How often will you have a chance to go for a basho, buddy?
Right.
You have set yourself up to win. Win or lose tomorrow, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Because
matter.
it's the job of a wrestler to show up.
Right.
And you have been handed just the most beautiful poker hand, buddy.
Right.
So you got to play your hand.
Right.
Or your foot.
And you'll regret it
Yep. If you don't go, you're going to regret it and wonder
for
what
the rest
happened.
of your life.
So, at some point, Takeda Fuji had a change of heart.
Well, he said within himself he felt a strange power come to him.
So he plugged himself into the grid,
And he asked
recharged his
Isagahama-
batteries.
He said, Isagahama Oyakata, something's different. And miraculously, his foot was working. And Isagahama was like, okay, you've proved to me that you can walk. I don't know what happened. But if you want this, I'm going to let you do it.
Yep.
And he was like, look at me. I can tap dance now. I'm okay.
So he shows up on day 15 and he's got to meet Gonoyama, who has a 10-4 record and is looking strong and is not going to give this guy an easy pass.
No, he's not.
Absolutely not. Takeda Fuji, if you look closely, he's only on his left leg. He is not putting much weight on his right leg. And in the fight, he doesn't either. It's pretty incredible. The two go chest to chest. There is no hanka. That was the other thing. I was like, oh, please don't hanka. Please don't hanka.
Don't win for
don't.
with the hanka. Yeah.
He didn't. Takeda Fuji got inside, he got the outside grip on the belt. He advanced. Gonoyama lifted up on Takeda Fuji's arm to break that belt grip at the edge. Gonoyama pushed back, but Takeda Fuji somehow on one leg stayed close and pushed Gonoyama back and out. It was a solid win on a single leg, and I believe it was an Oshitaoshi, even took Gonoyama down to the ground. It was incredible, that win. In the beginning, he didn't look confident at all.
I don't know how this kid pulled it off.
But it's like Terunofuji still wrestling through back pain.
Yeah.
It's these wrestlers' incredible ability to keep showing up on the doyo and wrestle even though they're not 100%.
It's impossible. Yeah.
It would be impossible for you or me to do it. Here's my other theory, is his coach was like, okay, listen, if you show up tomorrow, I got a can of peaches with your name on it and a bottle of good smelling skin cream. If you win, I will give you both.
I hope that men and women shower him with high-end body creams.
Yes, absolutely. Because he is the first rookie to the top division in 110 years to win the title. 110 years. He won it 13-2. His 10th tournament ever. And not only that, but they gave him every prize they could. They gave him 3 special prizes.
And they gave Onosato too as well.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And we haven't even gotten to his fight yet. But they showered him with every bit of praise they could.
Yeah.
He ticked every single box
He
in this
got
Basho.
praise from
Everyone.
Isagahama, Hakaku, Wakanohana, who is a commentator. I mean, everyone gave him some love. And I was like, you just don't hear that in sumo very often.
No.
And that's awesome.
You know, I wondered, is it also because he's fighting through this injury? Because
Right.
they all love that, too.
It's a great storyline.
It really is. It's incredible. And, you know, we haven't talked that much this time about his sumo, but his sumo has been perfect. Like, almost nothing wrong. Perfect positioning, incredible speed, except for those little bitty ankles that he still needs to train up more. Now he knows.
He needs cankles
Yep.
because he can't
He's like,
sustain
okay,
that.
yeah, I need to start running with some weights on or something to strengthen my ankles, because as soon as you go up against somebody like Asanoyama, who weighs more than you and is top heavy and is going to push like hell on your knees, your ankles have got to be able to withstand that.
Yep.
But your upper body is jacked.
Yeah.
And you are ready to go.
Yeah.
So honestly, when I was watching day 15 after that fight, I was like, well, nothing else is going to be exciting.
I know.
At all, but I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought everything was going to pale in comparison. I thought I was going to be like, well, there was my Hollywood ending. It's all downhill from here. Except that Asanoyama met Wakamoto Haru. Wakamoto Haru just out-muscled Asanoyama to get his favorite grip. He did my favorite move, the little butt wiggle, to get Asanoyama's grip off his belt. Then he put both hands on the front of Asanoyama's belt and wrestled Asanoyama out. I mean, this match had sex appeal.
It did.
It
was
had
very
strength.
sexy.
It was my favorite kind of sumo. It took them both to 9 and 6. I was like, what is not to love about that fight?
Right.
That was fabulous. And then Hirata Umi beat Daisho, which I absolutely loved. And then 2 more matches that were amazing as well. Onosato met Hoshoryu. And Onosato Uwatanaged, went for it. He's bigger than Hoshoryu, but Hoshoryu dug in at the edge and threw Onosato with a shitatanage that was so gorgeous, had perfect balance and amazing flexibility.
Yeah.
I mean, his bottom leg was completely straight and was the type of thing that no one can do unless they spend hours every day stretching out their hammies.
You're the nephew of a Yokozuna.
I mean, it was such a beautiful throw that Hoshoryu won. Didn't win any prizes for it. He got his record up to 11-4, but he's an Ozeki, so everybody was like, well, it wasn't quite good enough, was it? Whereas Onosato lost, but still got 2 prizes.
Right.
He lost, but he got the fighting spirit.
You're expected of it as an Ozeki.
Yeah.
You're expected. But Onosato,
He got the fighting spirit and the technique prize.
yeah, he deserved that.
Yeah, he did great. And then, final bout of the day, Kotonowaka versus Kirishima. What I wrote on this match was, where was
Where
this
have you been?
Kirishima
Yeah.
for the last 2 weeks? Where has this guy
A
been?
desperate, haggard Kirishima
Had
managed.
yes, he had Kotonowaka on the defense the entire match, the entire thing from beginning to end, and Kotonowaka fought back over and over and over again. But after 3 or 4 almost wins, almost, and Kotonowaka would fight back, Kirishima finally threw Kotonowaka down in a photo finish, overturn type motion. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And I did not think that Ozeki Showdown was going to be like worth a dime.
Right.
I thought Kotonowaka was just going to give one little push and be like, Kirishima, we'll see you in May.
See you in May, yeah.
But no, Kirishima was like, okay, I'm the last fight of the day. I best make this worth everybody's time.
Right.
And he did. And so that took Kirishima to 5-10, which is still well, I won't call it dreadful because it was better than some people's records, but it was not Ozeki style sumo this time.
No.
But it was exciting. So day 15 all around was great. Anything you want to say about day 15?
I mean, I will have to say, I remember Takaru Fuji being the new guy. I'm sure we'll learn what it's like to be up in Makuuchi. Kind of saying like he'll get his ass handed to him. What's that saying? Get your ass handed to you on a plate?
On a platter?
On a platter or plate, in a bowl, whatever. And he did not. There's been something special about this kid for a while. And I don't think we should at all be surprised at this like historic achievement. He's clearly talented, and I'm so excited about the fact that we get to watch him more and more. I just hope that that ankle, which is like a ligament pull, I hope that gets fixed.
Well, it's obvious we're going to be watching him and Onosato for years to come, hopefully. And it's going to be exciting to watch. Considering what happened in Juryo, we're probably going to see Mitoryu again. I don't think Wakataka Kage will be back in the top division yet. He'll be higher in Juryo.
Yeah.
But not quite back in the top.
Right.
But, exciting things are happening.
They are. So thanks for playing bingo. Thanks for watching Sumo with us. And we will be back at you next week. Until then, I am Leslie.
I'm Laurie. See you later.
Bye.